I didn't know I was allowed to cry. Um, it's quite bizarre to realize how many years of my life I just never cried. Now that I'm relearning how to do it, because like sometime around age 9 or 10 for me, I started getting spanked a lot by my parents. Which, if you're unfamiliar with the term, is just a euphemism for beating your kids, usually making them strip naked and beating them on their buttocks. So I was abused, and it it was like it always happened. Like I always got spanked as like a punishment for being emotional, like for complaining. Um, so I learned really quickly when I was a very young kid that crying and being emotional would get me punished. It was bad. It was wrong, and I never remember my mom or dad crying. Like I can remember them maybe getting like teary eyed, like one single tear in their eye during a sad part of a movie, but never like actually crying. I never saw it. And it's so sad to me because now I'm 23 years old and I'm just now like actually relearning how to cry like I did when I was 8 or 9 years old. And I realized like I haven't done it in over a decade because like I have this fear deeply ingrained into me that if I cry, something bad is going to happen to me. I'm going to get beat like I did when I was a kid. And like growing up, I never saw any other dudes cry anyways. So I thought if I felt the urge to cry that there was something wrong with me because I literally never ever saw a guy cry. Ever. Like for my entire life, I have never seen a guy cry in real life except for in movies. And that is so tragic to me because there are lots of guys out there who are still like just like I was and they believe that they cannot cry. Like it's not allowed because, you know, their dad has never cried in front of them. And maybe their mom hasn't either. My mom didn't. Maybe their grandpa and their uncles never cried in front of them. So these guys don't know that they're actually allowed to cry, you know, and they're definitely not going to cry in front of their friends. And like none of my friends ever talked about crying either. Like none of my guy friends ever talked about it. And I grew up in a very conservative Southern Christian household, and you know, my dad would always make like these sexist remarks or like imply these sexist remarks about like women being emotional and being sensitive. Like when my mom would get upset about something, he would like talk about how like that's just how women are, you know, women are sensitive and emotional. And so, you know, I thought that like it made me believe that there was like something wrong with being emotional or sensitive. Like I'm not allowed to show emotion or be emotionally sensitive, or else that means like I'm girly. I'm like a woman. But like as if that's a bad thing, you know? And so I was afraid to show emotion like my whole life. And so like I'm just now getting over a heartbreak that I had when I was 16 years old. Actually, no. I'm just now getting over a heartbreak I had when I was 15 years old in 10th grade of high school. Because I never allowed myself to cry about it. Because, like, when the breakup happened, I remember feeling like tears well up in my eyes. And I did not, I remember the feeling in my stomach. I didn't allow it to come out. And I remember my mom would, like, came into my room and I immediately, like, acted like nothing was wrong because, you know, my mom had shown and taught me that I wasn't safe to experience my emotions around her or my dad. Otherwise, they would punish me. And like I never, ever, ever got to go to my parents about any emotional issues ever. They were never there for me emotionally. I was completely on my own from the time I was 9 years old to the time to now. Like it's it would be wrong for me to even call them my parents. I mean, they were just chaperones, really. Like they did nothing besides keep me alive. You know, they weren't there to help me thrive emotionally. They were completely useless, really. Like you could have put me in juvenile detention and that could have kept me alive. So like my parents did nothing special by keeping me alive. Um, but yeah, like I wondered for a really long time what was wrong with me because I felt the desire and the need to cry and get upset about things, but I didn't know that I was allowed to. I didn't feel like I was allowed to express those emotions. I didn't know I was allowed to be sad. It's like it makes me so absolutely sad and angry that I just didn't know this as a kid. And like I didn't know that I was allowed to have a bad day. And it's such a like simple statement, but it's so sad. Like I didn't know I was allowed to have a bad day. And like I think people that grow up in these emotionally intelligent and emotionally vulnerable households, I think they assume that other households are like that. And it pisses me off because it's not like that. Like this stuff should be taught in schools. Like how to handle your emotions. Like if people could be taught that in schools, like so many problems would be fixed. Because every problem in anyone's life ultimately comes down to emotions. But it's just ignored. It's completely ignored. It's just assumed that everyone is going to take care of themselves, but that's not the case. So many people have no idea how to take care of themselves emotionally. My parents didn't. My grandparents didn't, and they still don't. And so I never learned either. And I'm seeing the same patterns being repeated in my siblings because we were never taught how to deal with our emotions. So, it's no surprise that all of my siblings, all three of us, have struggled immensely with depression and anxiety. And the solution is so simple. The solution is so simple. And I don't know how therapists and doctors are so stupid. Really, I don't know. I don't understand how they're so stupid. Like, I have the answer. I'm just a regular 23-year-old guy, and I have the answer to fix depression and anxiety. It's to stop repressing your emotions. As soon as I stopped repressing my anxiety as soon as I stopped repressing my sadness and my anger, my depression and anxiety went away. It completely went away. And they had diagnosed me with major depressive disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, bipolar 2 disorder, idiopathic hypersomnia. Like I had a whole catalog, a phone book of psychiatric diagnoses. It's like how can these like I went to so many doctors, so many psychiatrists, so many therapists, over 10 in total. And none of them ever thought to ask me this. They never thought to ask me if I cried, if I was in touch with my emotions, if I let myself get angry. None of them thought about that. Like, how is the medical field still so, like, behind? Like, how have we not figured this out? And again, I think it's because people just assume that everyone is taking care of their emotions, that everyone knows how to deal with their emotions. But that's not true. I mean, maybe there is something, like, deeply sinister going on, and, like, the medical schools and everything know that emotions and emotional repression is the reason for addiction and things like that. And so they choose not to actually solve the problem. But that's kind of a conspiracy theory. But that's like the best thing I can come up with because I really don't understand why emotions are not talked about more. I don't understand. Like, why are they not talked about more in a medical sense? Like, that should be the first thing that comes up whenever you go to any sort of psychiatrist or psychologist, any sort of appointment about your mental state. Like, mental health is not an accurate description. Like, I think mental health should, like, only, like, specifically apply to people with, like to disorders specifically that have to do with the brain, like dementia, I would say that's a mental health issue. But, like, depression, anxiety, and all that, those are emotional health issues. Those are emotional health issues. It's not a problem with your brain. It's a problem with, like, your entire being, with your emotions. And your emotions, like, mostly occur in your body. You feel your emotions in your body. You don't feel them in your brain. You experience your emotions in your body. So it's not, like, accurate. It doesn't make sense to call it mental health. Like, it's emotional health. That whenever I realized that's what it was, it made everything made way more sense. So of course, like, When I tried 10 different medications, of course, none of them worked because none of them helped me to deal with my emotions. They were just numbing me. But yeah, like all the way from third grade to 2 years after graduating college, I never allowed myself to have a bad day. I never allowed myself to be upset. I always made myself push through and trudge through because I didn't think I was allowed to feel bad. So I just spent my whole life performing. My entire life has just been a performance. Like I haven't even really been alive my entire life. How sad of a statement is that? I like up until these past couple months, I have not even known who I was. Like I thought it was normal to not remember your entire childhood. Like up until a couple months ago, I could not remember my entire childhood. I couldn't remember anything before like age 15 or 16 years old. That's not good. That's not normal. And it's because I was repressing emotions. Like your emotions are attached to memories and vice versa. So when you repress your emotions, you're going to repress memories as well. So you're not going to remember big parts of your life. And so you're not going to know who you are if you don't have your own memories. And like despite all the technology and the information we have, we are still so far behind, especially if you grow up like in a very uneducated area, in a rural area. Like, yeah, you might be screwed. Like, not even the doctors. The doctors might not even be helpful because like everything is so by the book. People just go and diagnose everything by the book, by the symptoms, without actually asking what the actual cause was. Because maybe I actually didn't ever need heart surgery for an irregular heartbeat. Maybe it has to do with the fact that my symptoms started right around the time my parents started beating me. Like, it's just too convenient that like all my heart problems arose when my parents started beating me. And so they went and got me heart surgery. Like, no, maybe you should have taught me how to deal with my emotional and physical trauma and how to cry and shake and feel the emotions viscerally and get my parents to stop beating me. How the fuck have we not realized this in medicine? Like, I remember like I read The Body Keeps the Score, and I'm like, you're telling me they didn't already know this? Like, this shit is so obvious. And again, I think it's because there are people that grow up in emotionally intelligent families and they just simply, I guess they don't use critical thinking and they don't consider the fact that other people didn't grow up in the same way they did. Other people didn't have the same skills taught to them. And it pisses me off when people are like, oh, how could you possibly be depressed or anxious? Like, just stop. Just go out and like just be happy. Like, it's not that simple, okay? If you were never given the tools or the lessons, and you never saw anyone display how to actually deal with your emotions, then you wouldn't like know how to be happy. You wouldn't know how to stop being depressed or anxious, even though it really is as simple as just crying and being emotional. But yeah, because of this, I've just come to completely resent my family. Like, there's no way around it. I absolutely am so filled with hatred towards my family because they robbed me of my whole life. My whole life, I've been robbed of actually experiencing life because I didn't know I was allowed to actually experience a fluctuation of emotions. And it's funny because like when I started actually allowing myself to feel these like the normal cycle of your mood, I thought I was bipolar. I literally went to the psychiatrist office at my university and told them that I thought I had bipolar because like there were some nights when I had trouble falling asleep because of the emotions I was dealing with. And I was like, wow, this must be bipolar disorder or something. And they never thought to ask me like how I was doing with my emotions and stuff, if I was crying or not. Like, why is that not a question on the surveys? Like, when was the last time you cried? Because like up until like July of this year, The last time I had cried was like in 2014 or something. So like from 2014 to 2025, I just never cried. And so I bottled up all this emotion inside of me. And repression of expression leads to depression. So what do you know? I was extremely depressed for a really long time. Like my whole life. My entire childhood and adolescence was taken from me. So yeah, I really don't understand how it's taken this long for people to realize that you need to cry. Like, why do people think that crying is childish or like only something that women do? It doesn't make any sense. It's toxic masculinity once again. Like trying to make ourselves like it's like we try to like domesticate ourselves and make ourselves so civilized that we don't allow ourselves to express basic human emotion. Like humans are animals. And there are people like in the southern town I grew up in, there are people who will deny that humans are animals. They will disagree with you if you tell them that. Say, no, we're not. We're humans. Like because humans are animals, we have a lot of the same emotions that animals do, like we still have the same genetic makeup for the most part as when we lived in tribes, when we lived in the wild, so we still have those same strong emotions of anger, rage, sadness, grieving. Like those emotions like haven't just gone away now that we live in towns and nicer houses with outlets in the wall that you can plug your phone charger into. Like our surroundings might look a little bit different, but like our makeup is still the same. Like we still have the same emotional needs and the same emotional experiences, Like we still get scared even if there's not actually like a threat to our survival, because that's just how we've been wired since we evolved to become humans. I don't I think it's a combination of ignorance, a lack of education, some influence from religion that causes people to repress their bodily desires and emotions. Like it's a bunch of things. Also, like I don't I don't know if corporations know that this is an issue and they just choose not to tell people how to fix the issue. I don't know, but like now that I've started crying, like I don't feel the need to escape to any sort of addiction. Like I don't feel the need. Like for me, I've just never had I never really had a predisposition to any substance, but for me like my addiction was always screens and phones, like, and working. Like I would intentionally like stay longer at my job just to work so I could avoid certain emotions. And if I wasn't working, I would be just continuously on my phone. Even like reading, like I would compulsively just be reading like articles, like compulsively, just to avoid any thought or emotion from coming up. And, even though that would be better, I guess, than like being addicted to a substance, it's still unhealthy to be compulsively doing something to avoid any emotion. But now that I'm like learning how to actually process my emotions and how to cry, like I don't feel the need to do that. Like I can still go and read stuff on my phone, like go on TikTok, but it's like I don't need to do it. I just do it because I want to, and then I can just put it down whenever I want. Like I don't feel like I have to stay on there because I know that if I want to like deal with my emotions, I can just cry. But it's like you don't see this talked about. Like in biology class, we don't learn about crying and the benefits of it. We don't learn about that in science ever. Why? It makes no fucking sense. I really can only assume that it's something done, like it's intentional disinformation. Like it's intentionally, it has to be that we were intentionally not taught that because companies benefit from having people that are addicted to substances. That is the only thing I can think of. I just don't know how it's not talked about. It doesn't make sense to me, man. It doesn't make sense. Because like crying and getting angry, allowing myself to just shake with anger and rage, got rid of any desire I had for any sort of addiction. It got rid of it immediately almost. I don't know why people feel like they have to put on this mask to act like they're constantly okay. Like, why do we do that to ourselves? Like, why do you even hang around people at all that you have to lie about your emotions to? I guess it's because maybe, like, in past, in the tribal times and whatever, like, you had to be around certain people to survive, and maybe you didn't want to show them, like, your vulnerabilities because, then they might take advantage of you or make fun of you or something. Maybe. But, like, we're so far past that now. Like, we're so far past that. People need to, like, learn to be emotionally intelligent, how to deal with their emotions, because like your biggest enemy nowadays in the 21st century is you. Like, for the most part, none of us in first world countries are experiencing like constant threat to our survival. It's just not happening. But like, that doesn't mean that we still don't experience those same emotions. Like, we still have those emotions, and we can learn to regulate and deal with them. But like, so many people don't, especially like straight guys. They don't know that they can be emotional. They think they have to put on this tough guy persona. And like, I have no doubt in my mind that thousands, maybe like hundreds of thousands of people have committed suicide because of this. Because suicide happens as a result of depression, and depression happens as a result of repressing your emotions. And so if you repress your emotions for long enough, you feel like dying. Like if you don't allow yourself to like let out your anger and your sadness, it just becomes directed right back at you. Like, if you don't allow yourself to get angry at other people, you're going to feel that anger directed right back at you. Like, instead of hating other people, you're going to just start hating yourself, because the emotion, you're not allowing the emotion to leave your body. So the hate just stays with you. The sadness stays with you, And that's what happened to me. And that's why I almost committed suicide multiple times, because I was so depressed. And I didn't know how to get better. I tried everything. I went to so many doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists. I tried all kinds of different therapies. And none of them worked, because none of them addressed my actual emotional state. None of them addressed my emotions. And it's amazing. Like, how are we so behind? It's crazy. But yeah, I absolutely hate my dad for never teaching me this. Like, my dad, he represses his own emotions, and it's caused him to do lots of harm to himself and to other people, including me and the rest of our family. Like, because he just represses his emotions. He doesn't know how to deal with his emotions, because his dad is the same way, and his dad, and his dad, and his dad, and like, I'm the result of generations and generations of emotional repression. Like, I might be the first male in my entire family ancestry to ever like actually not repress emotions. I mean, I don't like that though. Like, I don't take pride in being like the first guy in my family to ever do that, because it's just so obvious and stupid that this wasn't done before. But man, like, 14 years of my life just down the drain. Literally just surviving for 14 years of my life. Never even experiencing any of my emotions. Like, I didn't feel happy as a kid. Like, I don't really have like happy childhood memories. Like, I think back to some things I did, and I was like, oh yeah, like playing basketball in my driveway, like that was fun. Like, in theory that was fun, but when I think about how I felt during that time period in real life when I was a kid, I wasn't enjoying myself. Like, everything I was doing was trying to escape from my emotions as a kid, because I didn't feel like I could express my emotions. So I would play, all kinds of sports, and I would get really into the sports. I would get really into my studies, because I could distract myself with them and not feel my emotions, because my parents punished me for being emotional. So I felt trapped, bro. It was awful. And people, like, when you see other people with mental health problems, it's not a mystery. It's not a mystery why they have the mental health problems. Those mental health problems only come up because they are repressing their emotions. Because they don't think they're allowed to be sad or depressed. They don't think they're allowed to be nervous. They don't think they're allowed to be angry or filled with rage. Like, they don't know that they're allowed to feel those things. So then they just end up getting depressed and getting stuck on medications So like the fix is very simple. Like it's not a mystery. You don't have to go and read a bunch of books on it. You can just sit there, lay in your bed, watch my video on lay therapy, lay in your bed and just feel the emotions that come up in your chest area. And let yourself cry. Watch La La Land or The Notebook or something. And just let yourself cry. Go to a safe place and just let yourself cry. And your problems will literally go away. It's crazy. It's so simple. But there's... I mean, like... I guess maybe you can't... Like I just told you how to fix your emotions. Your mental health problems. Your emotional health problems. Like... I didn't make any money off of telling you that, did I? Like, there's no medication for me to sell you. So maybe that's the reason. I don't know. But I get extremely pissed and angry when I see ads for like depression and anxiety on TV. Like for depression and anxiety medications. Like, oh, we got the new medication for depression and anxiety. This one's gonna really fix it this time. No, like we were not meant to be on medicine. You're not meant to be on medicine. Like the only reason that you're on medication for your emotions is because you're not comfortable with dealing with your emotions, and it might not be your fault. But you can still learn, you can still learn. It just pisses me off. Like, I know so many people that are just on medication for their emotions, and it's not normal. That's not normal. It's because you don't know how to deal with your emotions. Like, you don't think that you're allowed to be an animated person. You don't think that you're allowed to express yourself, so you take these pills to numb yourself and make yourself more civilized and domesticated. And, like, like, even my siblings, they're on medication for their emotions. And it's like, because of my parents have encouraged them to do this. Because my parents are also on mental health medications. My mom was on medication for like my entire childhood and adolescence. It didn't help her at all. It made her numb. It made her absolutely numb. So we need to stop prescribing these as long-term solutions. Like, yes, if someone is literally, like, has a knife to their throat and is just trying to go, like, yeah, give them some lithium or something for a week or two or a month. But in the meantime, you need to actually be helping them deal with their emotions. The lithium, the Lamictal, the Klonopin, the Lexapro, the venlafaxine. Those are not long-term solutions. They're not long-term solutions. Your body is very well built to deal with your own emotions. You have your own emotional system in here with all your emotional chemicals and stuff. You just have to let them flow freely. Let them flow freely. It's got to be something sinister. It just pisses me off, dude. Like, I wasted so many years of my life not ever being emotional, not ever, like, caring. I thought, like, being indifferent and apathetic and nonchalant was cool, but I was just depressed. I was repressing everything. I wasn't feeling anything. And now that I actually am feeling things, I would never want to go back to being depressed and numb ever again. I would rather be tortured than to feel depressed and numb again. I would rather be tortured and immense emotional pain and feel horrible than to feel nothing at all. It's a horrible feeling because it's like you're not even alive. You're disassociating. You're dissociating and you're depersonalizing. And, like, I had all of those symptoms. I had dissociation, depersonalization. And as soon as I started crying and everything, they all went away. It all went away so quickly. It went away in the span of a couple months. All gone. All of my symptoms gone that I had for over a decade of my life. Gone. Because dumbass therapists, bro, they don't consider the other environments that people were raised in. They don't consider that the parents of these kids the parents themselves are just pretending to be okay. None of them are actually okay. People underestimate how easy it is to put on a mask and pretend like you're okay when you're actually not okay. Like, the way that I act when I'm okay actually does not look that much different from how I looked when I was absolutely depressed and anxious, but just pretending like I was okay. Like, I got really, really good at acting and masking. So, like, if you're not, like, experienced enough with, like really, like, noticing certain signals and being emotionally empathetic and intelligent, you're going to probably think that other people are okay that actually are not okay at all. because they're masking, they're performing, they're playing a part, they're performing. They're not actually like feeling their emotions. Because like us humans are smart enough to figure out like what to do in certain social situations, like how to fit certain social norms, like how to act. Like you can figure that out logically, even if it goes against your emotions. But yeah, I'm gonna keep making videos to get the message out there to other guys, specifically, that are having emotional issues, because it's not a coincidence, that the sex that represses their emotions the most has the most mental health problems. There's a reason why guys have the majority of the mental health problems and cause the majority of the violence in our world. It's because they don't know how to deal with their emotions. They don't know how to cry. They don't know how to sob. They don't know how to feel sad, feel depressed. Like, you're allowed to feel all of those things. And the more that you repress them, the more that they grow, the more they fester. Like, just like a wound that you don't attend, it's going to get more and more infected. You have to actually attend to your wound. Just feel your wound inside of you. But yeah, my emotional intelligence has skyrocketed. Like, I just by spending like a few hours every day really feeling my emotions, like I understand like why I feel the way I do, why I act the way I do, like why I've done certain things in the past, what my motivations were. I understand all of it now. Like, it makes so much sense why I acted the way I did. Like, I did so much performing through my childhood and adolescence. Like, I performed really well in school because it was like it was the survival mechanism that I had learned. Like, for other people it might be partying. For me, it just happened to be like being a workaholic, essentially. Like, that was just that was my that's what I was predisposed to when it came to like surviving and repressing my emotions. I did it through academics and hobbies, because that's what my parents did, and my parents' parents, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I can't believe I didn't know that I was allowed to cry. I can't believe I didn't know that I was allowed to have a bad day. Eventually, like, I'd like to make a video of myself just crying on here for other guys to see, because it's absolutely insane to me that up to this point in my life, I have never seen a guy cry in person. I have never seen it happen before. Like, I've seen it in movies, but it's like, oh, that's just something they do in movies, like acting. It's like, I've never seen a guy actually cry his eyes out in real life. So how was I supposed to know that that was a normal thing to do? And guys never talk about it either. So it's like a mythical occurrence, crying. It's like, you don't talk about it. You're not, like, with your guy friends, you don't talk about being emotional. Like, now I do. Now I absolutely do. And I only surround myself with guys who are in touch with their emotions now, because I realize how unhealthy it is to be anything other than that. But like, another thing about like emotions is that, like, emotions aren't as simple as just like, oh, you're happy or you're sad. You're sad or you're mad. Like, it's not like that. Like, when you actually get in touch with your emotions, you'll realize it's like a mix. Like, you can feel ambivalent. You can feel a lot of different things at once. You can feel like, it's like if you had like a cup of different colors of sand. Like, you can have like red sand here, and then yellow sand, and then red sand again, and then blue sand. It's like that with the emotions. Like, you can have, like, you can feel mad, and then underneath your your anger, you feel sadness, and then you can feel anger again. Like, and then underneath it, it's confusion. It's like, when you're feeling your emotions, you don't necessarily feel like only one emotion at a time. You can feel like really angry, and then all of a sudden you're feeling really sad, and then you're feeling really angry again, and that's normal. Like, that's normal. Yeah, I like the mental/emotional health system in the United States, probably most of the world, is absolutely awful. At least in first world countries, because we focus so much on medicine, medicating, rather than actually tuning into the body. I really can't believe it. Like, I legitimately thought I was bipolar because I was experiencing emotions, regular human emotions. It makes me so mad. And I remember I used to think that people who experienced, like, whenever I would see people like getting angry, or like if I saw a girl break down crying, like, I thought, oh wow, something is wrong with her. Like, I used to think that because I never saw people express emotion like that in my own life, like at home. But like, that's perfectly normal. It's perfectly normal to cry. man. And it's like I just have this inner feeling of peace. Like I just feel so relaxed now. I don't feel this need to run and like get a girlfriend, like go socialize. I don't feel like I have to do those things like to be okay, you know? Like I can just be by myself and be fine because I'm not repressing my emotions anymore. And it's like this is the peace that I thought I would find in like religion. I thought that I would find this peace in a career and having a family and having a girlfriend. But no, you don't need any of those things to feel at peace. And if you actually rely on those things for your peace, they're going to fall apart. You can't rely on other things for your own personal inner peace. Like now that I've let myself cry, like I can sit here and I can just feel everything and I can be relaxed. Like I can be content just sitting and looking out the window. And if I all of a sudden if I get angry, then I let myself get angry. I let myself be hateful just in my head, like not acting out any violence or anything, just feeling my emotions. If I feel like they need to just start crying and listening to sad music, then I let myself do that. I let my emotions flow naturally. I don't stop any of them. And I can understand like maybe you're giving like a presentation at work and you don't want to like break down crying right there. And it's like I think it's okay to lie to other people about your emotions and how you're feeling depending on the circumstance. I don't think you should do that with your kids, but maybe if it's like a stranger or coworkers you're not comfortable with. But like when you're with yourself, you should never lie to yourself about how you're feeling. Like I can understand maybe lying to other people about how you're feeling, but don't lie to yourself, because that is the epitome of self-hatred. And self-hatred isn't even really that bad. Like you're allowed to hate yourself and get mad at yourself, but like when you start repressing your own self-hatred, when you start hating yourself for hating yourself, well, that's when it spirals, and that's when you get suicidal and depressed, because you're like, I don't like myself, and that's bad, that's wrong, I'm not allowed to do that. Yes, you are. You're allowed to be mad at yourself. You're allowed to be angry. I feel like I contradicted myself by saying that, like, yeah, I was saying that like repressing your emotions causes you to hate yourself. But then you start hating yourself more because you think that you're not allowed to hate yourself. But you are allowed to hate yourself. You're allowed to be mad at yourself, just like you're mad at other people. Just let yourself feel angry at yourself. It's okay. It's okay to not like the way that you look in the mirror. Like, people are just so unrealistic about how you're, like, it's like you're supposed to only feel like one set of emotions all the time. Like, every time you look in the mirror, you're supposed to, like, force yourself to like what you see. You're supposed to force yourself to love yourself. Like, that is not loving yourself. Like, forcing yourself to love yourself, that's not loving yourself. Like, if you actually love yourself, you would be okay with sometimes feeling like you don't love yourself. Right? That's what unconditional love for yourself would look like. But I think, like, the average person, maybe the majority of people that I've interacted with at least, are very emotionally unintelligent. They don't understand these things. And I think it's because, like, I don't understand exactly why, but for whatever reason, a lot of people just don't have the capacity to, like, be aware of themselves and their actions and their emotions and why they do certain things. Like, I suppose a lot of people, like, repress their emotions like I did for my whole life, and maybe they just never come to realize it. Like, I came to realize it at 23 years old, but maybe they go their whole life without realizing it, which is a scary thought. You just have, like, you have these zombies walking around. You're working with zombies, people who aren't even really alive. They're just there because they're supposed to be there, not because they even know that they feel like they want to be there, you know? But God, like, now that I'm actually in touch with my emotions, like, I feel like I can do anything. Like, I feel like it's like a superpower. Like, something inside of me, like, has been unlocked. Like, it's like when Iron Man puts that blue thing inside of his chest. Like, it feels like I'm actually alive now. It's crazy. Like, sometimes I wake up and I just feel angry, and I'm like, this is okay, I'm allowed to be angry. And I'm like, I'll let my anger just drive me for the whole day, and my anger will motivate me. Sometimes my self-hatred will motivate me, you know? Because it's okay to hate yourself and be mad at yourself, and it'll motivate me. But then, like, the next day, I'll be okay. Like, I resolve the issue, I let my emotions come and go, come and go, come and go. And I feel so much better. It's like everything is just flowing freely, like my chi or whatever. But it's just emotions. It's just chemicals that you're actually letting them do their job. A lot of people evidently, like for thousands of years, people have just never realized this. They've been in survival mode their whole life, understandably so, because up until recently, like you had to work constantly for a living, you know. You had to have kids in order to have a successful farm because maybe you couldn't afford farm labor, so you had to have kids, and then when you weren't working, you were taking care of the kids, blah, 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 blah. So it's like not until now, really, that everyone is really getting a chance to settle down and like analyze their emotions and the way they're feeling, you know? But yeah, when you like really sit down and think about it, like it makes no sense for me to fight my own emotions. Like I'm fighting my own emotions that are inside of my own body. Like why am I fighting the emotions in my body? I'm fighting against my own body. Like I'm not fighting against like a virus. I'm not fighting against cancer or something. Like I'm just fighting against my own regular human emotions. Why am I doing that? It doesn't make sense. Like who is asking me to repress my emotions? Like right now no one is asking me to do that. I can feel my emotions, you know? I'm not doing anyone any favors by repressing my emotions. Like you can feel your emotions, you can feel your anger without actually doing any angry actions. Like you can separate your feelings from your actions, you know? But yeah, now that I'm letting myself have bad days and I'm letting myself be down and feel down in the dumps, like I feel so much more at peace. Like I'm not resisting anything anymore, you know? So yeah, let yourself cry. You're allowed to cry. And maybe you feel like you're not allowed to cry. Well, that's, you know, that's okay. It's not your fault that you feel like that. It's just a result of your conditioning from how you were raised. But just like let yourself cry in the shower, you know, whenever you go to the bathroom, like pull up some videos on TikTok, like emotional videos on TikTok and just let yourself cry. And you'll feel so much better. You'll feel so much better. It'll fix a lot of your issues with addiction, a lot of your emotional issues. It'll fix your issues with not being able to focus. Like when I was repressing my emotions, you know, like when I was repressing my anxiety, it caused me to become more anxious, which made it even harder for me to focus. So, like, I got diagnosed with ADHD as well. That's another crazy thing I forgot about. Yeah, I got diagnosed with ADHD because I couldn't focus, and so they prescribed me Adderall. I didn't need it. I never needed Adderall. I took it like once, twice, three times or something. But I realized like eventually like this wasn't fixing my problems. Like I wasn't there yet, but I realized like there's something deeper here that we're not getting to. And that deeper thing was my actual human emotions. Like instead of treating the symptoms, we need to actually treat the root of the problem, which is that I hadn't let myself cry in over a decade. So of course I'm not feeling good, you know? So I yeah, I'm starting a movement.